So today I have a very special video for you. The guys from P3 Gauges gave me the first ever gauge for the 2016 and up Camaro, the 6th gen Camaros. And those of you that don't know what P3 gauges are, I have one in my 5th gen ZL1. If you guys haven't seen that video, I'll link it right above. Go check it out. But what they do is they make custom multi-gauges that read a number of different things. And what it is it's a direct factory replacement vent that they pretty much mount their own gauge in, and they custom make each gauge for each vent. So when you're buying this gauge, it's not something that you're gonna, mount on top of your, steering column or mount up the A-pillar like the old school way. It literally goes in a vent and it looks nice and clean. It looks pretty much factory. That's what I love about the gauges. So not only does it read things like the normal coolant temp and battery voltage and things like that, it'll also go as far as reading IAT2s for forced induction setup like mine, like with a blower, and it also does 0 to 60, 0 to 100, 60 to 130, 60 to 0, and I think 100 to 0, all those performance times, which is pretty cool. So I'm pretty excited to install this in my new Camaro here. Each one comes with its own module for specific to the car. So this is like the Camaro module, and it has different features for the Camaro. Certain cars, maybe you might have a BMW, it'll have a different module for different things for that type of car. But they all plug directly into your OBD2 port. It also comes with optional hookups. So if you have something like an air-fuel ratio sensor, you would hook it up through there. Or you could hook up like an oil sensor or something like that. But these wires here are for analog hookups. This here is for the P3 gauge, the boost gauge. If your car doesn't already have a boost sensor built in, this does, so I don't use this. You can buy the P3 boost gauge and hook it up through there, a boost sensor. And then you can also hook this up to the interior lighting in your car, so then when your lights come on, the gauge will dim with the rest of the lights in the interior, whereas if you don't have that hooked up, it'll always be bright. Some people don't like that. I really don't care, so I probably won't hook this up today, but it's nice to know that they do have that feature. So first thing you would do is hook this pack to the wiring right here. Now, this is the first time I'm going to be doing it, obviously, with the 6th gen, and actually it's the first time that they'll know, because they actually sent me this gauge as kind of like a prototype, and I'm kind of going to be their little test subject here. But these air vents on the 6th gen ZL1s are a little complicated. They were, the P3, the guys told me they were a little complicated to make a gauge work, but they ended up making one and it looks awesome. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get this out, but I already got this side panel off here, which wasn't that hard, so now I have to figure out how to pop this vent out without completely breaking it. Alright, so like I said, once you get this side panel off right here, which pops off pretty easily, you then yank on this a little bit and this will pop out like this, and just kind of get it to this first hump right here. And then you can literally wiggle this whole vent assembly out, so you can see this little lip right here where it's starting to pop out. What I did was, unless you have a tool that's not going to damage your dash, I basically wrapped a flathead in a microfiber cloth and got under there. Just see how I'm prying that out, and that whole assembly will come out. And what I think is going to happen here is this swivel vent, we are going to lose function of that swivel vent, because the stationary assembly is this, and that swivel vent would go inside of that. So yeah, we're going to lose that functionality. However, we still retain, that's another thing I forgot to mention for you guys, is you still retain the use of the actual vent. The airflow can still come through and past the gauge. So that's one thing I forgot to tell you guys about, the cool thing about these gauges. It always irks me because I feel like I'm gonna break something, especially on a new car with a warranty. You don't want to damage this silver piece here, because you're gonna still use that. Ta-da! There it is. See? Whole vent assembly. And look, nothing's even broke. A lot of this stuff, when you're taking apart dashes and stuff, and trust me, I know, because I just put a 10-point roll cage in my 5th gen, and Westy and I had been putting that dash in, and everything clicks and snaps and feels like you're gonna break everything, but you're not, so don't really worry about it. And if you do, there's always super glue. So here you go. Here's a comparison between stock air vent and gauge. And look at that. It's the exact same thing. It even says GM on it. Made in Korea. Wow. Fail. Fail GM. Stock assembly. Gauge assembly. Obviously, this silver ring is going to go on here. So we're going to have to find a way to take that off without damaging it. Alrighty, so figured out how to get this off. Pop it off very carefully. It's very hard. It's not glued on, but it has a ton of these little tabs on it right here, 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 here. They literally slide right in there. So you have to literally pry each tab, and you just keep going around in a circle, keep prying very carefully, and it eventually pop off. And that's exactly what it did. I did talk to one of the guys over there at P3 Gauges who's been helping me out, Jake, and they might actually end up selling this silver piece already on their gauge assembly here. So you guys might not even have to do this step, what I'm doing. Anyways, we're gonna pop this on here, make sure it's on the right way. And the way you know is because it actually says top and bottom on the vent assembly. And there you go. That's it. It's that simple. I wish it was that easy to take off. So there's the gauge right there, and now we're gonna put it in. All right, so I'm gonna put this light here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But basically, you wanna feed this wire through and down through here, because this is where your HVAC system is, so you don't wanna feed it through there. No, you want it to come out the side here just like that. And then this vent goes right back in. Remember to align it top and bottom correctly. And it should literally just pop right back in like I took it out. And then what we're gonna do is put this dash back together, which really, you don't even have to take that apart. I just did it because I wasn't sure what needed to come apart and what it didn't. So that's actually one less step you guys really need to do. Really the only thing you need to do is just pop this out a little bit so you can get that wire down through. So we're gonna pop this dash back in. Once that's done, now we can figure out how we're going to basically route this box here. Plug it in. I like to hide stuff and make things look a little neat, you know. So I'm gonna figure out a nice way to route this to the OBD2 port. Alrighty, so I have everything wrapped up and tucked away, and I have some stuff zip tied there out of the way. And basically I decided to route this around the side here, and I think it'll be okay. We're gonna find out here in a second once I put this back on. There we go. Everything's latched in, everything's good. Gauge is installed, so let's test it out. Alrighty, so in order for the gauge to function, you do have to start your vehicle. You just can't use accessory mode and view the gauge. So we're gonna pop the garage door open a little bit so we don't completely die of carbon monoxide poisoning. Start the car. And you see it already works. Alrighty, so like I said, the air vent doesn't move anymore. You don't have the functionality of it moving around, but you still have the air that can come out. And honestly, it's not really in a bad position. It's not like it's cocked to one side or the other. The air would come pretty much straight out, so that's nice. So if we test the AC out here right now, you can feel air coming out there. And it kind of just disperses out. The way this vent here is designed, the way they custom made this gauge, it shoots the air kind of out every direction, so you kind of feel it everywhere, which is pretty nice. That's my coolant temp right now, and this bar up here is kind of like a status bar, basically low to high, and it's different for each measurement. So we have coolant, then we have IAT1, which is your intake air temperature before the supercharger, which is 82 degrees, and then nice feature on this car, it has IAT2, which is intake air temp after the supercharger, which is a nice feature to read. Ignition. This is your exhaust gas temp. Some people like to read that, so that's nice. Throttle. Basically your throttle plate, it's never going to go to 0, because when the car is idling, the throttle plate is open 16, and then the more you give it throttle, the more it goes up. So there's that measurement. This is your RPMs, and you keep that go up, and you can use it actually as like a shift light, which is pretty cool. Then you have your speed, obviously, which is 0 because we're not going anywhere. 0 to 60 times. And in that 0 to 60 time, you can change it to 0 to 100, 60 to 0, 100 to 0, 60 to 130, just like I said. So after that, there's battery, your voltage. Then you have your boost gauge right there that'll read boost, which is nice. And then all the way back to your coolant. Now, like I said, you can hook up other stuff to this gauge. You can read air-fuel ratio if you have an air-fuel ratio sensor. You can just get a wideband sensor and you can hook it up, and then you can read it right off this gauge. You don't need to buy extra gauges and have them all stacked up. I don't know, some of you guys like that, but I like this. This is nice and clean. It looks stock. It's almost the exact same color screen as everything in the car. It has that nice white LED look to it, and yeah, it fits nice. As you can see, when I turn the car off, it goes off. So here's the original assembly, still intact. So yeah, if you buy it, sell it or keep it or whatever you want to do with it. But I want to thank P3 Gauges for sending me the brand new 6th Gen Camaro P3 gauge, and I'm very happy with it, as I was happy with one of my 5th Gen. I'm not sure when they're going to be for sale. Like I said, this is still a prototype, so hopefully it should be soon. However, I will have all of their info in the description of this video. You can check out all the gauges they have for many different cars, from Audi to BMW to Volkswagen. They have a ton of cars on there. So go check it out, see if they got a P3 gauge for your car. Jake and the guys from P3 Gauges are actually gonna have a vendor set up at Cars and Coffee at Lehigh Valley, PA this Sunday, the 23rd. I'll be there with my new car and hopefully my 2013 ZL1. However, the weather is looking kind of iffy right now, so if it does rain, I'm not going to be taking my other car, but I will have the new car there with the new gauge installed. They're going to have a vendor booth set up there with all their stuff, so they'll have a lot of good info there. They'll be handing out some stuff for you guys. So if you want to talk to them in person and also see the car in person, come check that out. I'll have all that info also below in the description. And as always, thank you for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it. Please share the video. Follow all of my social media, which will also be in the description. Hit that subscribe button. Have a great day.